Okay, welcome everyone. This is the June 2nd free training on QiqoChat. We've got some great facilitators from the United States and Europe here. I'm going to share my screen. We'll do a brief orientation to this space. Everybody has joined the link called Free Training Intro to QiqoChat, and they arrived automatically in the main room. You can see their profile icons are up here. And on the right-hand side immediately, you'll see that we've got a place where you can edit notes. So someone said they can no longer attend, so they just wrote a quick note there. We appreciate that very much. And then I added a few notes here. I said, welcome, who is here? And people were able to type their name, and then a place for people to add their comments. So here in QiqoChat, we have a notes area on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, you've got breakout rooms. At the top, you have join video for the main room. So those are the three main components, and you can make them as simple or as complex as you like. So we'll start here with the breakout rooms. Every time I click a different breakout room, it's going to change the page, and now you see the notes page is different. So now we're looking at the notes for that breakout room. And if I click back into main room, you can see my profile icon is updated. Click back into main room, then I see the notes page for the main room. Now we can replace these notes with Google Docs or any other interesting collaborative tool that you want. So if you're teaching a class or if you've got an online conference, you can create a different experience in each one of these rooms or spaces. You can have up to 100 rooms. By default, each of these rooms is connected to Zoom video. So when you click join video, Zoom is going to launch. But we've also changed that. So it doesn't have to be connected to Zoom. It could be connected to GoToMeeting. It could be connected to Google Meet or Jitsi, and also Microsoft Teams and Adobe Connect. So we do that because you might find a client that you're working with wants to use one in particular. And then each of these Zoom meeting rooms by default can have 300 people in it, and we can increase that with the increased add-on from Zoom called the large meeting add-on, goes up to 500 or 1,000 people. This could also be a Zoom webinar. And on the right-hand side, as I mentioned, you could put different Google Docs, and we'll see some examples of groups that have done that. Now, this is interactive, so feel free to interrupt me at any time with any questions. After I say something, if you want more clarity, please let me know. So I mentioned that we are in a QiqoChat event, and a QiqoChat event is part of this broader idea called a circle. So a circle is for your group of people. You would use a circle if you're not just having a one-time event, but if you want your people to stay connected week after week, month after month, then you use a circle. So a circle is like a Facebook group on QiqoChat. It's a place where people become a member, they join it. It could be public or private, that's your choice. And there's different tools that are there. There's a member directory. So let's go take a look at this circle. It's the Learn About QiqoChat circle. So it's called the Learn About QiqoChat homepage. We'll open that up. And here is the homepage for the circle. So it's very simple, and you can customize this. You might see that people add subcircles. So a circle could be within another circle. We call that a subcircle. There's some tools here called the gardens. We'll explain that. A member directory, pretty straightforward, and a calendar, pretty straightforward. So we'll take a look at the calendar first. Here are the upcoming events in this circle. I scroll down and you can see more events. On the right-hand side, you can see the members. And so once we go into this, we show up in the event that we are at right now. So I'll click on Free Training Intro to QiqoChat. This is the RSVP page. So every event has its own landing page, and you can add images down here. You could see who's on video right now. And you can see where everybody is on a map. If they're not a guest, you could see their profiles, clicking list view to see all their names. So once we enter the event, that's where we are right here. So that just gives you an outside to inside view of A circle has a few tools like a member directory. Let's go take a look at the member directory. Click members, and it's pretty simple. It's a map of all your members, and you can search for them. And you would use a circle if you've got, say, an online class that you're teaching, or if you have a company or a client that's going to have multiple events. There's your member directory. You could see what their skills are if you want to map them out. Sometimes that can be interesting. You could see all the profiles of everybody that's in your circle. You could see what their needs and offers are. You see where they're coming from. These are community building tools. So someone would like to offer something and they'd like to share something else. It looks like this one's quite long because I think someone shared something pretty wide, like that link. So we'll fix that. Maybe we're not expecting that to happen. All right. So then the other tool that we have is called the gardens. We'll take a look in the menu at the top here, and you can see the different tools. We'll take a look at the gardens. Gardens, they're kind of like events in that you click a big green button to launch Zoom, and you've got a big, beautiful photo that you can choose in the background. So for the group here that came from the organization related to circuses, imagine you would have some very stunning photos that you can put in here. And each of your gardens doesn't have to be a garden. It can be something else, like a different act with beautiful photos for each one of these. So the idea here is you've got several different parallel gardens. People can go into any one of them and they can change the topic. And before I go into these gardens, I can see there's no one there. There's no topic. So I'm gonna say, all right, I wanna go to this one and I wanna set the topic. So I go to this garden in Canada and I can set the topic here, cooking. And then anybody else that is on this page will see that I wanna talk about cooking. And so they might join me there and they just pop in, they pop out. There's no start time, no end time. It's like a garden or a community park outside of your home. It's always there. You never know who you're gonna meet. That's the purpose of the gardens on QiqoChat. Whereas with the events that we're in right now, it has a start time and an end time. And you come here to do work, usually, to think together. That's the best way. Not work is kind of unexciting, but thinking together, that's specifically the great challenge you have as the event organizer is how to get this group of people to think together. So you can put different tools up here. And I heard in the introductions before we started recording, people want to do Jamboard or Mentimeter, and we also have Google Docs. I'll show an example of what it looks like when you embed various tools. Here, this event, oh, looks like a bunch of people are actually meeting in there right now, just testing it out, which is kind of cool. So here, this is just a demo to show how you can go from Zoom to GoToMeeting to MS Teams, Adobe Connect, Google Meet, and Jitsi. Jitsi is an interesting video tool that your video is going to be right here in the browser. See, I can scroll up and down, and the notes are right below, and you can adjust it. You could say, I want to make it bigger or smaller. Pretty simple controls, but it's all you need. And it'd be all the different people across the top if you had more than one person. And so I just wanted to show you down here, this one, tools that work when they are embedded. So we'll go here and you'll see what an example is. We've got Jitsi on top, but that's not relevant to what I'm showing here. It's the idea that you have all these different tools. So here's an editable Google Doc. It'll load down here. Here's a read-only Google Doc. Here's a Google Drawing. So you can have Post-its. This is what I'm talking about when we say people can think together. You can have all the Post-its pre-populated here on the left-hand side. People drag them in, and they can vote with dots. So you can start to see clusters of dots around which Post-its are the most interesting or intriguing or challenging, whatever criteria you want. Here's Google Presentation. So you can have multiple slides in there if you wanted to. And Google Forms. You could do Mentimeter. I don't have an example of Mentimeter in here, but yes, you can. So Mentimeter is a tool for surveying people. And the neat thing about Mentimeter is that it's got one page for the survey and it's got one page for the results. So you could put each of them in as a separate tab. So I've seen some events where they have survey 1 and survey results 1, survey 2, survey results 2. For the person who asked about Mentimeter, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I offered a menu of 10 activities I could run. The people voted, and within a few seconds, I had some kind of pie chart, and I said, okay, that's your next 5 weeks, because those are the most popular. It was quite a startling moment for me. And someone's technology in Poland didn't work. They sent the thing to my phone, and I voted for it, and it appeared back in Poland. I was very impressed with Mentimeter. I use it for the evaluations on the workshops I run, that people vote on what was the most useful or most transferable. So yeah, it's interesting that you can integrate it into your system.
Excellent. Yep. You can have Mentimeter in different rooms, or you can have all of your breakout. So you got to think, when do I want people all at the same room? And when do I want them breaking out into different rooms? And when they go to the different rooms, do I want them all to have the same Mentimeter page or survey? And that's your choice. Or do you want them to have a different one? Here's some other tools. Pinup looks like other way to do Post-its. Slido, it's like a survey. Let's see. Happy, and let's see what happens here. All right, so it creates a word cloud in Slido. Then there's the default Etherpad, which is what you're seeing. And then diagrams.net. You have to log in to Google with this one, but that was a specific technical group that wanted diagrams.net. So I think I'll add Mentimeter up here just to show it's possible. So any other questions about displaying things here? You can't do Jamboard, Mural, or Miro, but if you put them here, it will link out to them. So take a look at this room down here. We have Mural, Howspace, and Notion. So if you click on it, it just opens it in a new tab. So you can pre-populate all of your murals. Here's an example. Mural's a beautiful tool for moving Post-its around.
Yeah, my son uses it a lot.
So it's just going to be a link here. And at least you could pre-populate the mural links for everybody. And the neat thing about Kiko is after the event is over, these links are still here. So people can go into these notes and see them at any time. So I'm going to go into admin controls and say, view all breakout notes. So I want to see all the notes from all the pages at the same time. And here they are on one page. So maybe they're, because I've done a lot of, actually this one's not showing everything, but I'll go back to the one where we are, admin controls, and view all breakout notes. And here you could see room 1, room 2. You can see all the notes that people are typing across all your rooms. It works with Google Docs too. All right, so that covers the basics of embedding tools over here, the video options you have on the left. We talked about circles and how events are part of circles, but your event doesn't have to be in a circle. Your event can be independent of a circle, a one-time event. And you would create that up here, My Events. If you want to create a new circle here. Creating a circle is pretty quick. Just put in a name, and your name goes right here for your circle, and then your link. So whatever you want it to be, such as mytest.QiqoChat.com, whatever you'd like it to be. So those are the minimum fields. And then there's a lot of options in a circle to customize it. We don't try to make the decisions for you. We try to make it configurable. But most of people's time on QiqoChat is in these live events. So there's some fun things you could do with these live events. Let's say we have some questions here, and this is my other question, and here is another question. We could take these questions, and let's say these are breakout discussion topics that people are interested in talking about, and we just copy them and paste them in here. Set topics for breakout rooms. Just paste them in, and I'm going to trim them up a little bit. So that they're not too long. And click Save. And now here are all our topics. So now we could have breakout sessions on each of these different topics. So that's how quick it is to create breakout spaces, get the right number. All the other breakout rooms are hidden. And then if you clear those topics, just get rid of them and click Save. Then all your breakout rooms appear again. There are some other tools you have here under admin controls. You could join video as the host. And so that gives you all the Zoom capabilities that you would expect as the host of the Zoom meeting, such as muting people, removing people, working with closed captions, using breakout rooms, and recording. You also have the security capabilities for preventing people from screen sharing and any other things that you normally do as a Zoom host. Because once you launch it, it's going to launch a Zoom. And then you're in Zoom from that point forward. You can notify the breakout rooms to say, please return to the main room in 5 minutes. And so they'll see a notice like this on the screen. But the thing about Kiko is people move themselves. So you don't push and pull people into breakout rooms unless you want to do that through Zoom's native breakout functionality, which you have in each of these, as long as you join as host, as I mentioned previously. But here, you give them the notice, and it says 5 minutes. Maybe you also have a timer saying a 30-minute countdown. So people know they take responsibility for where they are. And if they're having a good conversation in room 6, they stay there, and they just keep talking. But you can also go in and give them a friendly reminder at the end. If you have a technical assistant, they would go through each room. Maybe 20% of your rooms might stay there even after it's time to come back. So you just pop in, wave your hand, and then they come back unless there's a reason that they need to stay and keep discussing. So that's the timer. Something else that's pretty easy is assigning people to breakouts. So if we want groups of 3, save. So now you could see we're all assigned to group, and we just takes our username and assigns us to a different table, and you can shuffle it.
So assigning with one click and shuffling.
They will have to move themselves presently. When we do the integration with Jitsi that we're showing here, this up here,
right,
then you will be moving them. But for now, because we're connecting with Zoom, they see the countdown goes to 0, and then they move themselves.
okay.
You could do some things like 1, 2, 4, all, which is a liberating structure. Liberating structures are pretty neat. liberatingstructures.com. There's about 33 plus liberating structures for how to get groups to think together. So 1, 2, 4, all is you ask a question, everybody thinks about it for 30 seconds or a minute on their own, then they pair up, and then you move them into groups of 4. And then they all share back at the main room. So you would just assign people in groups of 2 and then 4. Although I think 3, 4, 5 is better online because sometimes one person won't make it to the breakout room. So rather than having somebody on their own, go 3, 4, 5. And then if someone doesn't come, you still have a pair. You could see a full screen chat window. This is helpful for when you are facilitating an event. You can turn on the sound so you'll hear all these questions. Can we have videos loaded is a great question from Maury. And yes, you can add live video here on the right-hand side. And the way to do that, I need to write a blog post about that. So I'm going to post the link to the blog article here when I'm done writing it. It'll be another day or two. How to post videos on the page. So these can be live streaming videos or recorded. If you'd like to see me do it now, it's a little bit involved, but I'll show you how it's done. You have the recording if you ever want to go back to it. So get an embed code for YouTube. I just went to any YouTube video and click share and then embed. Okay, so I got the embed code here. And then I need to put it into this event. First of all, I'm going to show you how to add new tabs across the top, because you already saw that it's possible when we were on that other page. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to click edit the event. These are things when you want to edit the structure of the page. What you do here in admin controls are things on the fly, like changing the topics that you saw here, or the countdown timer, things like that. So if you want to change the names of the rooms or the number of rooms, that's where you go to edit. We'll click edit. This is where you have the topic of your event and the description. You've already created this when you created your event. It has a start time and a duration, the estimated number of participants, and then click more options. There's a lot on the screen here, but it's written in very plain language so you can understand it if you have time to read it. Number of breakout spaces, well, let's go with 100 breakout spaces. I'm going to clear out the topics for these rooms. We don't need our names there anymore. We can add a different title for each room. So we can call it the opening circle. We can call it, in a circle context, maybe ring 1, ring 2. Does that make sense in a circle context? Circus context?
Yeah, you can have a 3-ring circus.
Okay, we can have a 3-ring circus. We can even have some outdoor spaces like garden 1, garden 2. You can have fun with it. And you're able to assign photos for each of your spaces. Then we'll go down here, a notes page for every space and for the breakout. So let's go get a Google Doc. So I'll click example Google Doc. This is one that I had loaded previously, but you would go to drive.google.com to create your own Google Docs. I've created one already, and I've shared it so that anyone with the link has access. So all Kiko's going to do is going to point people who are in your event to any resources that you have online, such as this Google Doc. So I will take it, and I will put it here. That will become the Google Doc at the main table. And then I'll get another one, say a Google Drawing. So I'll get these Post-its here, which you've seen before. And I'll just grab them. You want to make them look better than that, but that's just for demonstration purposes. So this is saying the first link is going to go at our first room, which is the opening circle. And the next link is going to go at the next. Because we already have some text written in the opening circle, I'm just going to move it all down so that this is going to go in breakout 1, this is going to go in breakout 2. And so that's the pattern. Just keep adding more documents down here as you go. And scroll down, click update. So now when we go back into the main space, we're going to see our notes because we did not overwrite them. But out here in ring 1 and ring 2, that's where we have our Google Doc. And in ring 2, we've got our Google Drawing. The other thing I can show is, what if you wanted to put this Google Drawing and the Google Doc in ring 1? So if you want to see both of them in ring 1, I'll show you how to do that. So right now, you got one in one and one in the other. We'll click Edit. And we're going to go down to more options. So this is how we do it. You put them both on the same line and you separate them with a space. All of this is explained right here with more info. And we want to give it a name. So I'm going to say drawing. I'll say draw, colon. So that's the name of the tab. Draw is the name of the tab. And then a colon to show here's the link. And then all the way on the left-hand side, the other one, we were going to say this is notes and colon. So here's the name of tab 1, it's notes, and here's the name of tab 2, it's draw. And so you'll have 2 tabs, and because they're all on the same row, they're all going to be in the same room. It's a lot to remember. We don't expect you to remember it, so that's why we wrote all the instructions out here if you click more info. And we'll click update. And then we'll get back into those breakout spaces and you'll see tab 1 and tab 2. So here we are, tab 1 and tab 2. And so you can give people a Google Doc. You have a Google Doc for every room and maybe a Google Drawing for every room. And they can think creatively. They want to think visually or they want to think in text. Now they've got both options. You want to put Mentimeter in here. It's the same process. Put all the links on the same line, separate them with a space, and then give your tabs a name separated with a colon. All right, let me pause there, take any questions on that.
Yeah, I would like to know how long, you're clearly very familiar with it, how long before people become proficient at moving it around?
I think it might take them, well, you can try for free at, I'm going to paste some links down here at the demo circle. You saw that when we created this, it had 10 breakout rooms by default. All of those rooms are already connected to notes on the right-hand side and Zoom. So you didn't have to do anything to get that all set up. But if you wanted to customize, I think some people can watch the video here and maybe rewind it 2 or 3 times, and they just follow the same exact steps. So I'd say in under an hour, you could have 5 breakout rooms customized. It takes some time to create the Google Docs, but most of the time, and Heidi could speak to this, most of the time is figuring out what you want the space to look like, because you're doing something new here where you perhaps have not yet gathered people in your organization online with combining video and all of these different tools. So you have to think, what do I want them to do? And then you make the tool comply to what you want.
Can you offer a service? This is very, if I designed a conference, could you do the tech bit for it?
Absolutely. So we are available at $100 an hour, or for nonprofits, $90 an hour. And we can do everything from event design to configuring this space for you, even helping you with facilitation during the event or tech support during the event. But our goal is to make all of this self-serve so that you can learn how to do it and run many different events on QiqoChat. So
Thank you.
yeah, you can, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, no, I understand how it works. I did the one I'm doing in Poland, and we ran people arrived and we ran a quiz, and then they were annoyed saying, well, I've just done I needed a coffee when I arrived. So we designed a way in where we all said hello, and then we went in room 1, you can go and drink coffee and chat about the weather. In room 2, so we created 4 ways into the conference. I designed that as an idea, but someone else had to do all the tech to make it work. Because when people arrive in conferences in the real world, some drink coffee and some chat about the previous week, and some orientate themselves to this week, and some play stupid games. So we had a room of people playing games and doing yoga. I could design that, but I couldn't make the tech work.
Well, I think that's fantastic. So that's how we can work together. We were showing an event today where they did meditation and just being silent with each other. It was an international event, people in Canada and Pakistan and India and the United States. So you could, yes.
It's that I feel competent as a facilitator. I can stand in the middle of 300 people, but actually I need help to do the tech. I would need a tech team. I am employing tech people because I can't facilitate and tech.
Exactly. You definitely need, it's a 2-person job, 1 person to facilitate and 1 person to run the tech. You could do it if you're very familiar, you can, but there's going to be someone that's got some question over here, and it's hard for you to be present and set the tone and hold the space if you're doing both. So we can be that tech team for you. You can also find somebody and they can come to all these free trainings, but we want to see your event succeed because we only look good if you look good. So it's definitely in our best interest to make your event shine.
Okay.
I just have a question around moderation. In terms of those admin controls, how many people can be operating with admin kind of responsibilities?
This is your option. So you can
Right.
make it just yourself as the person who created the event,
Mm-hmm.
or you can make it open to a subset of people. You can assign it by their email address or their username. Usually you know one or the other, or both. And then you can also open it up to everyone. So if you're in a private circle that is, say, restricted by email address, or people are paying you to come to an event,
Mm-hmm.
as an aside, we have an Eventbrite integration so people can pay you dozens or hundreds of dollars to attend your event. Then if you connect it to Kiko, they receive an invitation to your event space here as soon as you want them to. Then they are a member, and you know that they're kind of trusted because they're paying $100 to come to your event. If you then edit your event, you can set it so that everyone can be the host. You might want to do that if it's important for two reasons. One, you can have someone with background noise, or it's not too tech savvy, and so they've got a barking dog. You need a host to come in and mute that person.
Yeah.
So if you let everybody do it, that's in a trusted space, that's one way to do it. If you wanted to just assign it to specific people, click edit, and then scroll down to more options. And these are all the options for your event. We've been here before, but I'm going to go down to security. So right now we're in customize your main space. You could do some custom text. So if you wanted to change room to salon or garden or any word in a different language, you can. Then, oh, here you can, I will highlight, I'll highlight myself in lime green, just in case you wanted to see yourself in a different color, or you've got two types of people, group A, group B, and you want them, this one to be orange and this one to be blue, and you can see where they are moving about. If you have some VIPs, you can give them a certain border color. So your question was about who should be the Zoom host. So let any participant do it, or only the event creator, the circle administrators, and the people listed below. So the people listed below would be add their email addresses here or their usernames. I'll give you both options. This one requires email confirmation. They have to go click their email, and this one does not. So gives you, there's more configuration options than you'll want, but you're gonna really want some. So everybody really wants some, so that's why we've built all of these so far. And if there's other configuration options you need, we grow with every big event. So every big event needs something different. We add it as an option to the platform so other events in the future can. So I will save this. And while I'm at it, I'm going to change the event design template. I'm going to say we want a garden theme. So that's going to put a photo of a garden in every room. When we update here, I can refresh the page and you'll see here's a garden in the main room. And then that each room has a different garden. And so you can make that any image you want. You can call these anything you'd like, but you kind of get the idea.
And I'll just add, Kevin, you also asked about access to to the admin controls for the event itself. And we had opened it up to a couple more people, and then I realized, oh, I didn't want anybody accidentally to hit the delete event button, because that is in that section. So limited that to the few of us who had been in there setting up the event in the first place, because really in terms of editing the whole structure of the event, you don't need a bunch of people with access to that. and they can, as Lucas just explained, have access to being the Zoom host, which is a different thing. But I remember having this gulp and going, oh, I don't know if we want, these extra people, because some of the loading of the photos and changing up of the tools in the where the Etherpad is now, you can mess up what's in the rooms by putting the wrong code in the wrong place or not having a space, etc. So that's just something you might want to limit in terms of Kiko admin controls. Just from my perspective. I don't know, Lucas, if you've had any bad experiences, but.
No, that makes complete sense. And Heidi's an example of, she brought me on to help facilitate her event. And by the time we were done working together, she was going in there and adding different tabs across the top.
Yeah, the issue for me, as you've outlined, is that in the real world, the board members grab each other on the way to coffee and go, this is working, do we need more of this? And we reset stuff very quickly with 4 or 5 of us between sessions. So the thought of having lots of people being able to do it, having 2 or 3 of you can get together virtually and do it is possible.
Yes, I've seen also the organizing team. Everybody's on coffee break, organizing team goes down to room 12, has their internal discussion, then comes back, change the event on the fly.
Yeah, always. Okay.
I have a query. With the circles, and they're sort of a drop-in and a drop-out family sort of thing, where events will be held on calendars and profiles will be held. Is there a easy place where, for example, email addresses, names, things like that are kept? It's a bit of a safeguarding question, really, as to where we'll be keeping people's information and how easy it is to get rid of.
Here on someone's profile, edit my profile, you can see the following information. So email addresses are kept private, but any other information that they want to share, such as about me, or I'm glad to offer or share, or I would like help on the following, their location, all these are optional, connect on Meetup or LinkedIn, any skills they have. So we don't expose their email address, but if I click on someone who has an email address here, I can write an email to them without knowing. It says they will see your email address and can reply to you directly. So we set up these one-to-one connections between people. One thing that's coming soon is the ability to send one-to-one chat messages. Right now, the chat messages are to the whole group here across all breakout rooms. So in terms of, oh, yes, please.
Might there be a way to almost prevent that? I'm thinking of running sessions for people, for young people who might not be computer savvy and would be vulnerable to any input from ulterior motives. Would there be a way for it to be safe for them to have their own account, or would it have to go through a parent and or guardian?
Well, I think that anyone under the age of 13 normally needs, to get into our terms of service, you've got to be over 13. If that is a problem, then we can maybe get some sort of other checkbox that I have my parents' permission or something like that. And QiqoChat's not designed for children, but it's an online communications tool, and it does allow you to at least put a circle around the people you want to protect and the events you want to protect. So if they don't have, let's say, greenwichschool.org email address, then they can't get into your circle, or whatever other type of email restrictions you would like. So that would be necessary. But keeping in mind, so once you launch Zoom, every Zoom meeting has its own password. The password is handled with the green button. But if someone goes into the Zoom meeting, they can share the link and they can put it on Twitter. We've never had any problems. We've had over 2 million minutes of video chat used on Zoom. We haven't had any Zoom bombing, but especially with students, maybe they do want to cause a prank on each other. So it's one thing to think about. You want to go in and disable screen sharing for all your participants as soon as you set it up. Fortunately, we don't share anyone's email address for any reason with anybody. So that is safe. If you want to disable the one-to-one messaging, we can look at how to do that. It's not currently, right now it's just enabled for everybody to send a one-to-one email to each other.
That's brilliant. It was just food for thought for the future. I'll look at
Great,
that.
I'll make a note of that.
Yes, we would need that as a reassurance. The UK
Okay.
child protection stuff is really, we would need that as a reassurance.
We have the Vice President of the European Union coming on here in a few weeks, and we're doing other work with the European Union. So
Great.
we have all our servers are in Europe, and our privacy policy is very user-centric, and it's very important to us.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have another commitment, but I've been very impressed, and I'm going to
Sure,
play
Pete.
around with it and come back to you in an open question thing.
Wonderful. Well, we have these every week at learn.QiqoChat.com, and here's all these other helpful links like our homepage, how to create your own free test event, create a circle, upcoming trainings, user guide, tools on Kiko, my contact information, join a Google group to ask more questions, some liberating structured community practice. Thanks for joining today, Pete.
Okay. I've really enjoyed it. It's made me think a lot. I'm slightly terrified about going and running a conference tomorrow without it now.
Well, I was too when I started, and then it's natural now. So let us help you.
Thank you.
Ciao. There are some other questions that people add here. So can you help people get in with one click? We have something which is pretty good. It was for a university event in Germany a few weeks ago where they get the link to an event with a password on it. And once they click that link, they're in, and they just have to enter an email address and a username. And we can actually just make it just the username. So the username helps you because you could see who is who down here. And also here, you can see usernames. So if you want, we can test out actually launching Zoom with that click. If that's important to you, I think we're going in that direction. I might as well just, people have asked for this in the past, and so it's on our list. Maybe I'll prioritize that. So it's one click to get all the way in and launch Zoom. But the downside is people say, well, some other facilitators say that they actually want people to walk through the process and go to the landing page for an event, click participate now, get oriented as they walk in and they see, all right, there's different rooms. Where am I? I see notes. At the top of your notes, you should always have a message like, please click the green button to join video.
And I'll also just add that because you're not in person, the piece that helps that and that Kiko offers is that each participant can set up a minimal profile. They could upload a photo and have their name and where they're from. They don't have to put anything else in. But for the large event we did, it was very helpful because then the icons aren't just little blob heads. It's a picture of the person. So that extra step can also help people find each other, see each other, interact with each other away from being in the Zoom meeting, which helps you take advantage of what Kiko offers. So it is an extra step, and we were a little concerned about it. But the thing that made a difference to our people was they didn't have to upload a photo if they didn't want to. They didn't have to put anything in their bio, in the area, in the profile area if they didn't want to. But at least their name was attached to a photo. Most people did, and it really helped the flow of the event. And some people said a lot about themselves. So that was a piece I had to get over, and now I see the advantage of that option. It's like making your name badge, right? If you were in another event. So
here's Heidi's big event with nearly 350 people registering. So put their sponsor logos down here. Because of the Eventbrite integration, they were automatically RSVP'd, and you can see 80% of the people created a profile photo. Through the integration, it walks them right into set your password, upload a photo, come on in. And then here, you can see how she designed the space, a very familiar site to the people who attended the last in-person event. She had an announcements Google Doc here, and then the agenda. This is day 3's agenda, so People were able to populate a blank agenda wall. They have 30 sessions across 3 days. Other tabs about the format of open space, which is how people choose their own topics and create the agenda together. Great, so we're at the top of the hour. Did we get all the questions answered? Are there any additional questions?
No, that was fantastic.
Yeah, Lucas, one more that I posted are just the Butchart Gardens and the Chinese Gardens. Are those the only ones at this point that can go on your homepage?
You can put any photos up there that you like. Let's say this is a fun group. Find the theater people come up with the most interesting. To just have fun with it. Let's see, improbable. Put their own photos up there.
Okay. Now, how did they do that?
Up here, Maury, click on your name.
Okay.
My event design templates.
Templates. Okay.
And that is going to create several breakout spaces, and each breakout space has a name and a photo.
Okay.
And then when you edit your event, you assign it. You say edit, and then you go in.
More options.
I won't go into their event in case they have email addresses on there, but the event that we're on here today, edit, and more options. And down towards the bottom, set your event design template to whatever you'd like it to be.
Okay. Great, thank you.
You're very welcome. So folks are welcome to drop off at this time, but we'll stay on for any additional questions. Anything else, Kevin, Tom, Maury?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's a really exciting platform. So I think we'll continue discussions about how best to use it for what we're needing. Yeah, and I think if there's any questions kind of specific to our event, we'll get in touch.
Great. You've got our contact info right there in this document, and please reach out. You'll also receive an email with the recording for this event. So for those that are just tuning in here, you can come to these free trainings every week and open office hours every week at learn.QiqoChat.com/events. All right, well, see everybody next time.
Okay, thanks, Lucas. Thanks, Heidi.
That's great.
All right.